Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of PPC Unfiltered. I am Cory Lindholm. I am the co-host along with Michael Nadalin. Hello, Michael.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Good, brother. How you been?
I'm good. It's early here. It's 8:12 a.m. and I know it's, 4:12 p.m. for you now?
We are rocking, about 4:12 p.m.
Nice.
You got it.
So end of the day for you, beginning of the day for me. So I reckon we're in a pretty good energy right now.
I'd say. All right. So, brother, I got a really interesting topic for you. And the reason I say it's interesting is because a lot of people have been asking me about this, mostly in the last year. And I think it's because Google's promoting it more. And this is, should we do YouTube? Right. So they already have an ad account, or maybe they don't have an ad account and they're getting into Google ads, or they're expanding their account, and they ask that question, do you think YouTube ads is a good fit for us? So I'd love to break that down. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing, mate. That's an awesome idea. I'm glad you brought this up just before the call, because this is something that I've been looking into proactively with a lot of clients recently who are going extremely well with lead generation, but they're local businesses. So trying to find a way to expand their brand awareness, just being their impressions on the market. And then also for a lot of existing clients who are just looking to hit the next level. So I think this is a wonderful place to start, because YouTube does sound like a common sense approach for a lot of businesses, and you can logically explain all the benefits, but there are some downsides as well. And I think that's what's important and what we're going to chat about right now.
I love it. Yeah. So let's dig into some of the pros and cons. So the obvious pros is the traffic that is on YouTube. I don't know about you. I probably spend too much time on YouTube, whether that's just for entertainment or education or whatever it is, or just getting lost in the black hole that is YouTube scrolling and recommended videos. So it makes sense. There's a lot of traffic there. I think it's still the second largest search engine aside from just Google search, right? So it makes sense. There's a lot of eyeballs there. It is the modern billboard. So do we want to be there? I'd say that's obviously a big pro. Maybe a second pro is they hear about the cost per click. So the cost per views are generally cheaper than something like search or shopping if they're e-commerce, things like that, which is also a fair assessment. I would say the biggest con, getting right into the cons, is going to be you need a lot of data for this campaign to do well, which means a lot of money. And probably it's going to be tough to track how profitable these campaigns are, especially if you don't have some sort of third-party attribution tool that can show you cross-campaign interactions of conversions. So in other words, in more layman terms, which campaign is generating awareness but isn't getting credit for a conversion, versus what campaigns in the conversion path are actually getting attributed conversion. And that's probably where you've been putting most of your money. But without a tool like that, it's going to look like YouTube or display is doing awful. And I hear this all the time. Yeah, we tried YouTube for 6 months. We spent 20 grand and it just was nothing. It was total crap. And I said, well, were you just looking at Google ads? And it's like, yeah, of course. That's all we were using. Well, of course, Google ads itself has a tough time attributing view-through conversions to itself. Call that because of privacy policies, just pixel tracking issues and cross-domain tracking issues, et cetera. Google can only see what Google can see. Again, really a big reason to get some kind of investment in a third-party attribution tool. So I would say those are the biggest ones. You need a lot of data for it to do well. Expect it's going to take a while to dial in, because again, this is a very large network of people. Like, it needs to test a ton of different placement types and channels and video types, et cetera. So that would be where I would say I would start that conversation. What about for you?
That's awesome. Man, I'm just trying to process everything you just said then. So I hope everyone else is processing that right now, because that is really powerful. It's an interesting approach, because there's a lot of positives, and then there's obviously the technical downside. So the positives are, especially when you're working with large clients like we are, who may have even traditionally done TVCs or television commercials. If you're doing television commercials, you're just putting it out to a wider market of people who are watching TV. So they're kind of just numbing themselves. The benefit of YouTube is, and this is where the data really comes into play, with television, you can't really target people. You're mainly targeting based on what show they watch, what time they're watching, what channel they're on. But with YouTube, you can target the channels, You can target retargeting lists. You can decide how much you're paying. You can do it based on age demographics, like income demographics, gender demographics. And those granular targeting powers are so amazing. And especially, as I was saying before, if you're like a local business, you don't want to be running a television commercial that's statewide, or even just running on a local TV station that might not be where most of the people are. YouTube is where most of the people are. The three places where people, let's just say with money, so let's just say we're running a professional service, people who need something worth, $100 to $100,000. Most of them are either on Google proactively searching, Facebook doom scrolling, Instagram doom scrolling, or YouTube just watching videos. Like, YouTube is part of people's behavioral pattern. So you just want to go where the attention already is. You don't need to like break out of it. People are moving away from TV. People are moving towards YouTube. It's just fact. It's like, if you ask anyone what YouTube is in the world, they know what YouTube is. Like, it's just it's when people say Google it, it's almost like just see it and watch it on YouTube. It's not like watch a video online. It's like watch it on YouTube. So I think the behavioral part of it is there. So it's just about the downside, which is the technical implementation. One, do you have the right creative? Two, do you have the right audiences that you want to target, being retargeting audiences, interest-based audience affinity, custom segmentations? And then three, just like the settings that come with it. So there's all the benefits, but then the downside will always come from the implementation and settings. And that's things like location settings. One I was looking at the other day was just like, do you want to be showing outside the YouTube network on other display websites? And it's like, no.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I really believe, and it's the same with Facebook ads, creative is essential. And then also targeting is essential. So if you do have the ability to have good creative and then someone to implement it for you properly, then you should be doing it. If you don't have good creative, you don't think you're going to implement it properly, then it's just going to be a waste of money, similar to what like PMax did with their like auto-generated videos as well. So look, I recommend it for clients when they do have good creative, or they've got a lot of amazing conversion data from Facebook and Google Ads, so the pixel's really strong, or the Google Ads tag, so then it's got something to start working towards. So I'll end my little spiel there, mate, but that's just kind of like my brain dump on it. It's more strategic, the pros, and then the cons are more the implementation and the technical side.
Of course. Yeah, and I'll add one disclaimer here, and this is where strategies will diverge a bit. This is one area where strategies on YouTube marketing will diverge. When we're talking about this, in general, when I say it's expensive, it's going to take a lot of time, it might not look very profitable, I am mostly talking about where most of your spend is going to go with YouTube marketing, which is outbound marketing, right? Outbound targeting. So we don't really know exactly who these people are. They've never been to the site, that kind of thing. That's going to be a very expensive venture. However, remarketing on YouTube can be fantastic, to Michael's point, if you have solid assets. If you just have that one video you shot in 2001 on your cell phone, and it's showing products that you don't even sell anymore, please don't be doing YouTube remarketing with that video. Shoot something new, shoot something fresh. This is very similar. I don't do Facebook marketing anymore. This is very similar to social advertising, like you touched on. You need to constantly be refreshing your assets. And that's not just remarketing, that's outbound, because you need to be testing a lot. You need to see what messaging connects with your user base, or whatever your demographic is that you're going after that you think is going to be a buyer of your products or services. So I think that's vital. Just to mention, remarketing, yes, but again, you're going to need strong creatives for that, and make sure you don't just put it out one time and you're remarketing the same list that's come to anybody who's been to your site in the last 540 days. That is a recipe for wasted spend. Probably not going to be best use of your time. I'd also be curious, Michael, too, what is like some of your general best practices on, because I get this a lot, how many ads should we have, how many different videos should we test? Let's say the client has 10 plus videos, maybe they have 50 different videos. Should we put them all in one ad group? How do you usually look at that?
Yeah, that's awesome question, because I've just had like a large client who's had a significant improvement on their YouTube ads recently. And similar to every video I'll ever put out about Google Ads, it's really about structure of the account and then segmentation. So what I've tend to do with, most of the time with just a standard advertising account, I would have a campaign that's remarketing YouTube and then prospecting or cold YouTube. So they're separated. So the intent is very different. Then within those, let's just say it's the retargeting. I'll just have one ad group being it website traffic last 30 days, if there's a lot, or last 90 days. And then in the prospecting, literally every single ad group would be its own audience or targeting. And then potentially I might even segment it out by video, but sometimes I might just clump the videos in. It's really important for anything that you ever do to have proper structure and proper segmentation, because if it's going well, you're not going to know really what's going well. Yes, you can dive in, but most of the time, most people are not diving in. You've got to operate for the lowest common denominator. So it's like, I find that the more segmented it is on the higher level, the easier it is to operate. So my recommendations are usually split out retargeting, prospecting into their own campaigns, and then segment based on audience, and then just put your video creative there. I would usually like to start off with maybe 2 to 3 videos. I think 10's too many, because there's going to be too many variables to decide on what is the asset that's working as well. Right. The next thing as well is it's just also the campaign type you choose. Like, you're going for the, all right, I've already forgotten what that is. It's like a maximized conversion version, and then you've got your target CPV. Like, you can decide if you're going after bidding after the views or after just going after conversions. The ones that go after conversions, they deliver more, and they tend to get more conversions and tend to actually get a better cost per lead. The ones you pay for the cost per view, it gives you a sense of more control, which I tend to like, but the results I've noticed tend to be poorer. So there's so many ways to go about this, like strategic and then technically. And then also it comes down to how, like, you work mostly with e-com. So the strategy around e-com is going to be very different from lead gen. And for example, when we do mostly lead gen, if it's an enterprise client, it's usually national. If it's like maybe a smaller business, it's local. So then there's also factors that go into that, because if it's very local, being at like a 10, 20, 30 kilometer, I don't know what that is in miles, but radius, you don't need to be so granular with your targeting. Like with your audiences, you can just put them all in there, because what's important is the location radius more than the audience targeting. So that's many things I've just put there, but that's just my approach. What are yours,
right?
Mate?
And
what are yours?
Oh, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of the annoying "it depends" things, right? So guys, we can't possibly cover everything here. Obviously, from an e-com perspective, if we have budgetary restrictions by product, so product departments or categories, we obviously need to separate that at the campaign level, because that's where that setting lives. If we are integrating our inventory management strategy into our Google Ads campaigns, example would be, we need to push overstocked product differently than understocked products. We need to separate probably at the campaign level, because again, we want to bid and spend the i.e. budget differently for those products. So all of that and seasonality and all these other fun things that come into a more advanced strategy aside, I do think, just like lead gen, you still at the most basic level need to be segmenting by your major audience groups and your audience targeting. Because I think a very, very important thing that's underestimated is your bidding strategy can only be controlled at the most granular level, at the ad group level. We can't bid at like the individual video level. That would be kind of cool, but then it would just add more complexity, of course. But if you're just clumping everything into one ad group, how are you going? If Google identifies a certain audience, or if certain videos are working better than others, how do you control the bidding to be more aggressive or more conservative? You can't if you don't have that ad group segmentation. So I think it's important when you're watching anything Google Ads related, like a training video, education, whatever, don't just find out what is the best practice, really focus on why are people recommending what they're recommending. So in this case, when Michael says separate at the ad group level, and I'm saying that, most of the reason is going to be because we need that control based on the tools that are available for us. In this case, it would be like a bidding setting, which is only available at the ad group or campaign level. So wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, e-com is going to be very, very similar. We're going to be separating outbound and remarketing. We're also known as prospecting versus remarketing or retargeting. We're going to separate those at the campaign level, because again, we're going to expect dramatically different performance, and we're probably going to want to allocate our marketing spends differently for those different agendas. It gets very granular as needed. As I mentioned, you might have some products in a separate campaign, or you might be targeting certain videos that advertise certain products or bundles in a separate ad group or a separate campaign because you have a major promotion coming. There's going to be a lot of little dependencies, but I completely agree. It's going to be mostly audience based and then based on whatever ad group level setting is important for your strategy.
The other thing I'll just quickly put in another strategy that I do is once within that prospecting campaign, once there's 80-20 just applies everywhere. And usually there'll be a few audiences within that get most of the leads. Once we discover what that is, we move those audiences into a new prospecting campaign called Prospecting Winners. And then they just get their own budget. So then they can just be uncapped, uncannibalized by the losers or the AB team, like AB variant. And then so the B teams kind of can try to get into the A group, and that works really well. The other thing I'm just about to execute with a e-commerce client that we work with, we don't work with many anymore, just because we're mainly focusing on our lead gen, but this client's just had a massive growth. When they started with us, they were making 50K a month. First month hit 80K. 2 months ago, they hit 100. Last month, they hit 170. This month, they're hitting 270. So just like a massive growth. And what I've been recommending to this client was that they have regular product drops. They're in e-commerce fashion. And I'm like, well, what he's noticed is when he does regular drops every 2 to 3 weeks of new things, he just gets a huge spike because it's fresh. And also it limits the overwhelm of people going, well, there's 100 products. What do I buy? It's like, here's 5 new products. Buy them. They go out of stock. And what we're going to do, and this is very specific for this case, so just an idea is a week before he starts doing his EDMs, but what we're going to do is just do like YouTube video, like a pre-sell, but not pre-sell, like a hype up on YouTube. He gets hundreds of thousands of people. So that retargeting tag, we could just hit that for like this week, this Thursday product drops going. So we just hit that really hard. So then when the Thursday comes, boom, we're gold. So it's about using it I don't tend to like to use YouTube for lead generation. I tend to like to use it for brand awareness, top of the funnel, demand, like really building that demand. Right,
100%. Okay, I think that's really good, right? Is there anything else last minute that you want to throw in there? You think we're good?
Well, I don't know how long we've been chatting for, but like I feel like we're really scratching the surface because I know you, and the fact is what we've said is only like probably 2%, because like 98% is just like, it is case by case. And I feel like we could chat about this for hours, but we're not going to. So I feel like that is more than enough out of the fire hydrants out of both of us, just for the moment, mate. So yeah, I think that was good. If I was watching this, I'd be like, wow, that was a lot. But it's more understanding, as you said, the why behind it, not the what, but the why, the thinking pattern, because every use case, every client will be different, and it's trying to find which tool or strategy will fit this client in this moment. But as with all of this stuff that we'll ever say is like, whatever we say might work for us, or probably does work for us, you've got to figure out what works for you and your business. Like there's no like magical like elixir of like advertising. It's like, it's all you've got to execute. You've got to learn it yourself. You've got to find your own groove, because you and I could run the same client account and do things extremely differently and probably get amazing results. So it's about going, what is the outcome? Where am I now? And how am I going to creatively find that path to actually get to that result? So whatever we say here right today is more like guidance, not the actual like step-by-step process.
I love it. I love it. Guys, if you are watching this, go back and watch that last minute over and over again, like maybe 3 times, all right? Really let that just sink in, burn that into your mind, because that is so, so crucial if you want long-term success in this. Michael, thank you for joining me as always. This has been super fun. And for you guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon for getting notifications, so you don't miss any videos. You don't want that. There's value bombs dropping every single day. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
Awesome. And last thing, Cory, tell people where they can find you, mate. We've got to do the product promotion at the end. You're good to do the product promotion. Come on, let's go. People want to spend their money with you. Let's go.
If you want to reach out, you want to see more of my stuff, I'm on LinkedIn, just my name, Cory Lindholm. I also have a YouTube channel, also by the same name. Go ahead and check my stuff out there. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Michael Nadlin, or my agency is marketlead.com.au, or just go to my YouTube channel, which recently just hit 2,000 subscribers. Woohoo!
Wow.
And I haven't been posting in a
Congrats.
month. And but that is just Market Lead as well. You'll find that if you just write Google Ads in on YouTube, my videos start to pop up. So I don't do any SEO on them, but they start to rank now. So let's go. Anyway, Cory, mate, thank you so much for your time. Your insight and wisdom is so valuable. People pay you hundreds of dollars an hour for your insights. So your people are getting hundreds of dollars of consultation for free, let alone the value that's been come from it. So everyone, say thank you to Cory.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michael. All right, we'll talk soon.
See you, mate.